Saturday for Minnesota was interesting, and that's the only word we can put into it. It's time for our recap of the Victoire versus the Frost. Round 1 of the 2024-2025 season. Let's get it on. Let's get rolling on PWHL Recap. Let's get rolling. Here we go. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports. From the fans' perspective, here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun. Corey Shrevey, in her second year as a head coach of Montreal and the inaugural season of the Montreal Victoire, as I would like to call it, take on Ken K. Lee in match number 16 of the 2024-2025 season. And the first match between these two clubs, the Minnesota Frost and the Montreal Victoire. Hello everyone and welcome into Sports for Beginners, the podcast. Welcome into PWHL Recap. Welcome into one of our final PWHL recaps for the 2024 part of the 2024-2025 PWHL hockey season in Season 2. This saw our very first matchup between the Montreal Victoire and the Minnesota Frost. Only a few games left to speak about in the month of December, and this was the last one the Frost would play in 2024 for the year. However, there's still a lot of hockey to be played in Season 2 of our PWHL season. There's still a lot of hockey to be played. We got a nice January schedule coming up. Is this exactly our last PWHL recap for Minnesota? Yes. For 2024, this is the last Minnesota recap we will be doing for the Frost this season. But have some great New Year's Eve recording coming your way. On New Year's Day, we will talk about the Sceptres and the Charge. That game at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, midnight in the UK, and 1 a.m. in France. We'll talk about that all a little bit later. As we have just gone over our head coaches in Ken K. Lee and, of course, Corey. I'm gonna go with KC. I'm gonna go with KC. If I pronounced it wrong, I apologize. But it's Corey Shrevey, or as I'm gonna say, KC, taking on Ken K. Lee. And the goaltenders in this one, that's Montreal come out with a W. And Rene Desbiens in goal for Montreal against Matty Rooney for Minnesota, who would get the start. So 35 versus 35. Nicole Hensley in at the backup, number 29. Elena Chuli, number 20, in at the backup for for Montreal, I should say. Minnesota's backup was Nicole Hensley. Maddie Rudney getting the start for Minnesota. And Renee Debienne getting the start for Montreal. Alrighty. That is our matchup between the pipes. As we call it, in goal here on this program. We're going to call it in goal here on this program. All right, as we roll on, let's take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to get into how this game went down. Was there any penalties or scoring to go into in the third period? What are our 3 stars of the game? How did the shots pan out? As I wasn't really following the game, we'll just go by the shot total by period and then bring that up with the shot totals a little bit later. Our women's hockey player of the game also still coming up. But all that coming up in a matter of moments. Stick with us because we're going to break down this 3-2 win for the Montreal Victoire and how it all went down as Marie-Philippe Poulin took on Taylor Heisey and Kendall Coyne-Schofield. PWHL Recap. Frost Victoire continues in just a second. Stick with us.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Don't miss a moment of the action. On PWHL Recap, we will have you covered all year long for Minnesota hockey between the Frost, the Sirens, the Fleet, the Charge, the Sceptres, and the Victoire all year long. And from time to time, we will jump into other teams on PWHL Recap, but we're mainly focused on Minnesota. Welcome in, everyone. If you're just joining us, odds are you are, but we have a ton of our shows we have to get to you, including this one, our recent recap I just did moments ago, that I started about 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, that's exactly what it said on our voice memo there, because that's what we're doing to record the program here. And that was a Buffalo Bills victory of a 40-14 win for the Buffalo Bills. Congratulations there. Happy Victory Monday to the Bills Mafia Nation and the Bills fans there. I think the Penguins will be looking for the split here against the Islanders, but we'll talk about how the first game went before we get to the second game. 20 minutes still to go in that last game. And big congratulations to the captain and my favorite Pittsburgh Penguins player, number 87, Sidney Crosby. He now passes. Yes, he has now passed. He has now passed Mario Lemieux for the most all-time assists in Pittsburgh Penguins history. Michael Bunting matches his single high season record with his 7th career power play goal. His single season career high with his 7th PPG goal, I should say. Not bad, not too shabby. Of course, Sidney Crosby now stands alone as the leader in Penguins all-time assists in Pittsburgh Penguins history, with his 1,034th career assist. Sidney Crosby has now surpassed Mario Lemieux to become the Penguins' all-time assist leader. Great news for Sid. Great news. Great news. Very happy for him. Very happy. And with that all being said, we still have a game of that to get to. But speaking of games to get to, let's talk about what went down in Minnesota between the Frost and the Victoire just a night ago. It was in the afternoon. The game was in the afternoon. But you know what? We're recording this on a Sunday night, so let's get into it. Shall we? I think we shall. Here we go. We'll start off with our goal scorers and Britta CS getting things started for the Minnesota Frost. Her 3rd goal of the season. She gets things started. Claire Thompson getting things started on the assist category, her 7th of the season. Britta CS, her 3rd goal of the season. Taylor Heisey, her 6th assist of the season. Claire Dalton, her 2nd assist of the season on Mariah Keppel. Mariah Key, or I'll just say Mariah K. Mariah K, her 1st goal as a member of Montreal Victoire, and 1st goal of the season. Quickly ties things up 15 minutes and 35 seconds into the game's 1st period. Minnesota took the early lead with the 1st goal of the game after they took the game's 1st penalty, which was May Bafferson at 1 minute and 18 seconds. For delay of game, that was the penalty. Claire Boudourac took a penalty also after Minnesota got the game's 1st goal. She got the one for too many players on the ice. 5 minutes and 31 seconds at that point. Montreal would go up by 2 on a goal by Alexandra Labelle, her 1st of the season, after 20 minutes. The Victoire have the game's 2-1 lead on Minnesota. Victoire 2, Minnesota, I should say Frost, 1. Minnesota jumping on to tie the game early in the 2nd period with a goal by Brooke McGee. Brooke McGee. Okay, I'll go with Brooke McGee. No, let's do Brooke MG. Yeah, Brooke MG. There we go. We'll go with that. Brooke MG. Her first goal of the season as Minnesota Frost. Tie this game up. Liz Shepard's hit her second assist of the season. Claire Budarak. Her first assist of the season. She took a penalty and has an assist in this game. And with that, 3 minutes and 17 seconds in, Minnesota has tied the game up. It's 2-2. Frost 2, Victoire 2. Not so fast, Marie-Philippe Poulin says, as she answers right back and gives Montreal the game lead, which would ultimately be our final score. Her second goal of the season, Laura Stacey. First assist of the season for her, Jennifer Gardner. Her second assist of the season. And with that said, Minnesota falls 3-2. As nothing happens here in the third period, penalties or scoring wise. Well, that's a first. However, Minnesota does get a penalty 15 minutes and 40 seconds in. Claire Thompson is caught for cross-checking at 15 minutes and 40 seconds. And then Katie Tabin caught for roughing, as that will be Montreal's only penalty taken in the game. At 17 minutes and 58 seconds. So Montreal wins the game 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, excuse me. Yeah, there we go. 3-2. There we go. And that brings us, now that our breakdown is done of the game, it brings us now to our shots on goal. Now, because I wasn't following the game, I can't tell you what or who outshot the other team. But our final totals, 10 shots on goal for the Victoire in the first, 5 for the Minnesota Frost in the first period. They were down, but they're only down by 5. The Victoire turned up the heat, but Minnesota still trying to come back with an uppercut. 11 shots on goal for the Victoire in the second period. 9 shots on goal for the Frost in the second period. In the third period, the Victoire lose the third period 10-4 in the shot total, but they ultimately outshoot Minnesota 25-24. And we'll get to the power play, among other things, after we take a quick break. Coming up after the break as well, play of the game, 3 stars of the game, and our main attraction, the women's hockey player of the game. All that coming up in just a little bit. And with that all being said, we will take a break. And when we come back, we'll get into the 3 stars of the game. The play of the game is coming up, and our women's hockey player of the game as well, coming up as well. Stick around for that. As I said before, in our Bills post-game show, we don't know yet when the Bills will be playing the New England Patriots next week, but we will know that in due time. They could be playing on Saturday. They could be playing on Sunday. We don't know that yet. However, by the time this week is over in the NFL, we will know who's playing when in the final week of the season. This just in, it could possibly be a Saturday and Sunday game. We will see. All right, let's take the break. When we come back, more with the women's hockey in just a moment.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Dear Hockey, dear Hockey, dear Hockey. Today I would like to share my love, my gratitude, and my appreciation. You have always been there for me and those who have come before me. Side by side, we have had so many emotional moments.
Now memories that are ingrained into my forever. You have helped me grow, learn,
Persevere. You have believed in me, supported me, and elevated me. My 24/7, my 365,
and now my future.
and now my future.
And now my future. I'm excited about what comes next.
I know they will be unbelievable, unimaginable, and the unexplainable. But I promise to be strong, powerful, and be an ambassador of all your good. You have only ever given, and now it is my turn to give back. I am here to amplify.
I'm here to unify
I am here to exemplify.
dreams for every little girl across the globe.
Hockey is for everyone.
All my love,
Forever.
always.
Victoire beat the defending Walter Cup champions Minnesota Frost 3-2 on Saturday, December 28, 2024. We are recapping it here on Sunday, December 29th, 2024. And just before New Year's Eve. We'll see when these shows get out. Hopefully before New Year's Eve, but we will get them to you when we can. So please be patient with us as we have a lot to get to you and a lot to get to you on the Ice or Behind the Benches feed as well, especially when it comes to Toronto Maple Leaf hockey. Coming up, besides our Pittsburgh hockey recaps here on Sports for Beginners, we invite you to stick around for Dolphins postgame. Dolphins pull off the W. Happy Victory Monday to you, Dolphins Nation. I don't want to say I called it on Bills postgame, but I called it. Get your victory ice cream out. The Browns have fallen to the Dolphins. 20-3 is your final. And also, Detroit might want to be on their best game this week and then next week, because now Minnesota has a chance to take that first round bye away from the Lions next week. So they really have to be on their game next week and this week. We will see what happens. The final score of that game, Vikings 27, Packers 25. All right. Back to the women's game. Here. All right. So more on these game stats. Here we go. Well, the power plays, Minnesota ends the game 0 for 1 on the power play on Saturday. Montreal goes 0 for 3 on the power play, but their penalty kill, perfect, 1 for 1. And speaking of that, the power play for Montreal was 0 for 3. The Minnesota penalty kill, perfect, 3 for 3. All right. Moving on. We're going to get to the play of the game in a second. But now that brings us now to our 3 stars of the game. Our stars of the game, as we call them here on PWHL Recap. And our third star is none other than the captain of Minnesota, number 29, Captain Clutch, Marie-Philippe Poulin. Marie-Philippe Poulin is your third star. 1 goal, no assist. Your second star is Brooke MG, number 3 of Minnesota. A goal, no assist. And your first star is number 2 of the Montreal Victoire, Maria K. A goal and no assist. Maria K, Brooke MG, and Marie-Philippe Poulin, the 3 stars of this contest. Your officials at the Xcel Energy Center, the site of this game. Lacey S. and Melissa Doyle, wearing the numbers 48 for Melissa, and for Lacey, 39. Melissa Brown, wearing the number 73 as one of the Lions persons. Your second Lions person is Adam Burnett, wearing the number 94. And those are your officials for this game that took 2 hours and 22 minutes to complete. Starting at 1:12 p.m. Central Time, 2:12 p.m. Eastern Time, and wrapping up at 4:34 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:34 p.m. Central. All right. With that said, we're going to get to the play of the game in just a moment. And how about we do that now? Now, I didn't really watch this game. I really didn't watch this game, and I'm being honest, I really didn't watch the game. But, even though I didn't watch the game, I still think I should at least give out a play of the game. Because that's what we're here for, right? Of course, right? I mean, I just answered that question for you, but that's okay. You guys know what I mean. And in case you don't know, I'm happy to elaborate in case. All right. So with that said, we have like a lot to talk about here. Well, I mean, we're not really. doing a lot to talk about. But okay, anyways, you get what I mean. I'm going to be getting off topic, so let's keep it back to topic here. All right. So I think when it comes to the play of the game for me, I'm going to go with Brooke MG's goal, her first of the PWHL and first as a Minnesota Frost member. And of course, I think what really brings me to this play was the fact that you're in a 2-1 game. You don't want to lose 2-1, let alone 3-1. I mean, you'd be okay losing 3-1, but no one likes losing, right? So you got to try to put some effort in. And I think Brooke MG really, I think she really rose to the challenge of that. And she should be very happy that she got one in today. Or one in on Saturday, because that's when the game was on Saturday. With that all being said, that's good enough for my play of the game. Play of the game and 3 stars of the game, not on Penguin post game, but on the Penguins live post game show on 1059 The X, is brought to you by your neighborhood Ford stores. Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs are the official vehicles of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And of course, also brought to you by Rivers Casino, one Pittsburgh's entertainment destination, not one. I meant to say Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. Yes. So Rivers Casino is Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. I'm not a gambler, but it's okay. We get the picture. All right. Again, we're not sponsored by that, and I'll reiterate that on Penguins postgame twice. Not in the same episode, but only once in an episode there. Given the fact that we're doing the same team twice once we're out of here with this show. And we also had an NHL debut get made tonight. All right. We will talk about that all on that side of the game. But with that all being said, it is time for us to take a break. Now that the play of the game and 3 stars and our game stats are out of the way. And after this break, we will touch on our women's hockey player of the game. I'll touch on the action that went down today in the PWHL and the action coming up tomorrow. By the time you're probably listening to this, it's probably coming up next. I'll even touch on our next PWHL recap that will send us to the new year. And I will even touch on the first of the 2025 mark of the 2024-2025 season. I will even touch on who is going to be first up when the Frost play again in 2025. All that coming up in a matter of moments. We are going to take a break. It's not going to be 30 seconds, but we are just about nearing the end of the program here in a 3-2 win for Minnesota, for Montreal over Minnesota. I guess you could say the Minnesota winning streak is over. And it ended at the hands of Marie-Philippe Poulin and Montreal. Would love to go to the head-to-head stuff, but nah, I probably should have figured that out. And I'm pretty sure by now in the inaugural season, we know what the head-to-head matchup was. All right, with that being said, after this break, we'll come back one more time, set up our back-to-back of Penguins post-game. Penguins and Islanders, first from Long Island, then in Pittsburgh. All that coming up in just a matter of moments. Stick with us, as we also are sending you off to Dolphins post-game. Happy Victory Monday to Dolphins Nation. Playoff hopes are still alive. You are alive. But for how much longer? What will happen next week? What happens next week, I should say, will determine whether or not the Dolphins' playoff hopes remain alive. All right. But as of right now, they are alive. All righty. So with that being said, we are taking the break, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Dear hockey, dear hockey, dear hockey. Today I would like to share my love, my gratitude, and my appreciation. You have always been there for me and those who have come before me. Side by side, we have had so many emotional moments.
Now memories that are ingrained into my forever. You have helped me grow, learn,
Persevere. You have believed in me,
supported me,
and elevated me.
my 24/7,
My 365,
and now my future.
and now my future.
And now my future.
I'm excited about what comes next. I know they will be unbelievable, unimaginable, and the unexplainable. But I promise to be strong, powerful, and be an ambassador of all your good. You have only ever given, and now it is my turn to give back. I am here to amplify.
I'm here to unify
I am here to exemplify.
dreams for every little girl across the globe.
Hockey is for everyone,
All my love,
forever.
always.
It's time for tonight's Women's Hockey Player of the Game. Who had the best game tonight? Let's find out
right now on the Sports for Beginners podcast.
What a beautiful message that, started things out for the inaugural season of the PWHL. And also, thank you so much, Thomas, for setting us up here with the Women's Hockey Player of the Game introduction. Didn't have that here in our recording here, but you know what? That's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. You heard that after the women's hockey. Sorry, not women's hockey. After you heard the message before the introduction for the Women's Hockey Player of the Game. And now it's time for us to do that. We're going to do, due to time constraints, because I do have 2 other hockey games to get to for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Islanders. We have 2 of those to get to. One of them from yesterday, which is the game of this game. And it looks like here come the Islanders. Here come the New York Islanders in this next game that we'll be doing shortly after we get through the first one that went down on Saturday. But again, as I said, off the top to Miami Dolphin fans, happy Victory Monday to you. The Miami Dolphins, by the way, defeated the Cleveland Browns 20-3, your final score. 20-3, your final score is the final. Yeah, that's right. 20-3 is your final. I'm not sure if it's 3-2 Pittsburgh right now or 3-1. It looks like it's just 3-1. But we'll figure it all out eventually. Anyways, with that all being said, we have a shorter wrap up here on PWHL Recap, so let's do that. It is time for the Women's Hockey Player of the Game, but before we get there, I touched on this, that we're going to touch on it. So let's go ahead and do so. The Sirens, who the Frost played on. Oh no, never mind. I should say the Sceptres, who the Frost played on Saturday, December 7th, 2024, were defeated in battle by the Montreal Victoire 4-3 in overtime back on December the 21st. And they defeated Boston 4-2 on Friday, the first game out of the Christmas break. And speaking of the Sirens, though, they did lose to the Ottawa Charge 3-1 on Sunday. That's today. We'll get to the action coming up, including the action that will kickstart January in just a little bit. But before we do, we have to get to the Women's Hockey Player of the Game. So let's do that right now. Let's do that now. Alrighty, so due to time constraints, we are just going to do one Women's Hockey Player of the Game per side. So 2 players will get it, 1 per side. And the lucky girl that's going to get it for the defending Walter Cup champion, Minnesota Frost, it's going to go to the goaltender, Maddie Rudney. Not a good start for Maddie Rudney. Not a good outing, I should say. But losing 3-2 is a whole lot better than losing by 2 or losing by 6. I would lose by 1 every night if I got that to happen. Maddie picks up 3 goals against, playing 60 minutes. She also made 22 saves on 25 shots that she faced. And our runner-up is Claire Budarak. Now, Claire did not have a goal in this game, but she did try to shoot the puck. She ends the day with 2 shots on goal, 2 penalty minutes, no goals. Did not get a plus minus or a chance in the face-off circle. She also didn't hit anyone, so that's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Alrighty. Wrapping things up here. The recipient for the Montreal Victoire, I am going to go with let's see, who is going to be my lucky selection? It is going to go to Michaela Mentis-Grant. 3 shots on goal. Oh, no, sorry. I was going to go for Marine Murphy. Marine Murphy. We'll go with MM. 3 shots on goal. 1 plus minus. She was a +1. No face-offs or hits in the game. No goals, no assists, and no penalty minutes. Okay. And our runner-up is the goaltender, Anne Renee Desbiens. 2 goals given up. Backstopped the team to help backstop Minnesota to get the win for Montreal. Made 22 saves on 24 shots. Not too shabby, not too shabby. All right, so with that being said, the next time you will hear me talking Frost will be when the Minnesota Frost take on the Boston Fleet, and then you can't get rid of me that easily. We're back with you on January the 4th, 2 p.m. Central Time. Sorry, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central Time for the Sirens and the Frost once again from the XL Energy Center. They're on a homestand now. To start the new year, they'll take on the Fleet in Minnesota at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Central. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And with that all being said, that's what's next up for Minnesota. Next up for this podcast, and specifically PWHL Recap, it's New Year's Eve hockey fun with the Toronto Sceptres and the Ottawa Charge. Speaking of the Charge, they will be at Coca-Cola Coliseum for some New Year's Eve Tuesday night hockey. It's on Tuesday. It's only on Prime. But of course, you could find other ways to stream the Sceptres and the Charge. I, of course, will be relying on the PWHL website, the live scoreboard as things happen. And if I don't record a show for you then, you'll get it on the Wednesday, January the 1st. if we're able to do so for you there. Or you might get it on Thursday, just ahead of Frost and Fleet. But that's okay. We'll see when you can get a certain show. Check your local listings for all the games. And if you can't get it on your local listings, try checking out the YouTube channel for the live game. A link will be provided in our description. The Frost fall 3-2 to the Montreal Victoire. They're back at it with the Fleet on January the 2nd. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Central. And that is our next recap. But our recap before that is Tuesday, New Year's Eve, Sceptres versus Charge. And we'll have it for you right here on Sports for Beginners. Whether or not Thomas or I are in the studio to bring that to you, stick around to find out who will host that program for you. But I will definitely be back for Frost versus Sirens and Frost versus Fleet. We will have that all for you. But definitely do stick around. All right. That'll do it for this episode of PWHL Recap. The Frost fall 3-2 to the Montreal Victoire. They will be back at it with Montreal as part of a doubleheader on Sunday, January the 12th. That will see the game go down at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Alrighty. Moving from Eastern or Pacific or Central to the Mountain Time Zone. We shall see what we get there. It is about time for us to talk NHL hockey with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So until then, PWHL hockey fans, and specifically fans of the Minnesota Frost, I will talk to you guys all in the new year. And with that, I wish you all a very happy new year. I hope everyone who celebrated Christmas had a very Merry Christmas or a Happy Hanukkah. I hope everyone had a nice holiday season in general. I will see you all after the Fleet and the Frost on January 2nd, 2025. And I'm gonna make it a goal to be there with you, Charge and Scepter fans, for Toronto versus Ottawa on New Year's Eve. But with that said, that'll do it for this episode of PWHL Recap. We'll be back with the Fleet and the Frost next time on our Minnesota Frost coverage of the 2024-2025 season. All right. With that said, I'm out of here. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. And as always, hockey is indeed for everyone. We'll see you next time on PWHL Recap. My name is Scott, signing off for Sports for Beginners and PWHL Recap. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would
would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.